The restrictions on the use of steroids for the purpose of enhancing athletic performance should be removed. So I'm going to give you guys a little historical background on steroids. So the first use of steroids in athletes for enhancement of their athletic abilities traces back to the ancient Greeks and the early Olympic Games during 776 BC through 393 BC. Although enhancements used during the Olympic Games were primitive, the fundamental idea of athletes wanting to enhance their performance has always been prevalent. Currently, it is illegal for people to use steroids without the prescription of a doctor. There are two types of steroids. The first steroid is known as corticosteroids, which suppresses immune responses and are prescribed by a doctor. They are used to treat like asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, and inflammation. The second type of steroid is known as anabolic, which builds muscles. Anabolic steroids are synthetic versions of testosterone and are used to treat conditions resulting from steroid hormone deficiency, such as delayed puberty, as well as diseases that result in loss of lean muscle mass, such as cancer and AIDS. They are legally prescribed by healthcare providers, but this group of drugs is often used illegally and abused to help increase athletic performance and improved body appearance. Possession of anabolic steroid without a prescription can result in a maximum 1-year prison sentence and a minimum fine of $1,000 for the first offense. Athletes will continue to use performance steroids to enhance their performance, since people have the freedom to choose to do whatever they want to their body as long as no one is harmed. The increase of competition and athletes wanting to give their full and best athletic performance encourages athletes to use steroids. The main common abuse steroid used is anabolic. Many use this right for the support of steroid use in athletes. This increase of competition is derived from the coaches and standards set by fans. This makes the use of anabolic steroids understandable in the competitive field of athletics. It is within the human nature to become competitive, so taking steroids for competitive purposes is understandable. The belief of disadvantage gained with the use of steroids has transformed the idea of allowing the intake of steroids for athletes to be dismissed and restricted. The prohibition of drugs makes the use of steroids grow. Setting restrictions will not stop the use of steroids. It will only increase the level of self-harm in athletes due to not knowing the appropriate dosage to take. Like it states in the article, drug packs and about steroids. Doses taken by abusers may be 10 to 100 times higher than doses prescribed to treat medical conditions. The most common illegal source is from smuggling steroids into the United States from other countries such as Mexico and European countries, which was stated in the article, A Guide for Understanding Steroids and Related Substances. Purchasing the drugs from smugglers who originate from road clinics from Europe and Mexico increases the chances of athletes to harm themselves compared to if they had legally purchased it from a doctor in their country. There are many loopholes in which athletes who use them used to get away with them when they are being tested for steroid use. Many can purchase designer drugs which hide the levels of testosterone in the urine sample and epitestosterone to give a TE ratio. In addition, arguments were added that using steroids increases the death rate of a person, but this gain is due to the non-clean steroids availability and the non-clean steroids due to it being illegal. Many people have no idea how to properly use steroids for athletic purposes. Our solution to this dilemma is that the legal officials should provide athletes with safe anabolic steroids and dosages, which should be taken under the legal officials and doctor supervision. If the goal is to protect health, then medically supervised doping is likely to be a better route, says Andy Mia, a bioethicist at the University of West Scotland. That article is titled Article Performance Enhancement Superhuman Athletes. By granting legal officials the power to give anabolic steroids to athletes, the athletes will be less likely to dose themselves too much steroids, significantly increasing the risk gained when taking a large dosage of steroids. The athletes would become properly educated on the correct dosage specifically for each person, depending on the sport and their body, since each body can handle different amount of anabolic steroids. As stated in the article, A Guide for Understanding Steroids and Related Substances, steroid abusers select doses depending upon their particular objectives, which is why dosage will vary between athletes. For example, the article A Guide for Understanding Steroids and Related Substances also stated that for endurance athletes, they will take at or slightly below replacement levels of 5 to 10 milligrams a day. Sprinters, 1.5 to 2 times replacement levels. Weightlifters and bodybuilders, 10 to 100 times normal doses. A second significant factor that affects an athlete on the amount of dosage that they can intake depends on their body. As stated in the article, How to Use Steroid Cycles, Stats, Workouts, Precautions, Diet, and more. For first-time users, it is important to know how your body will react to it, which is why it is important to begin with small dosage under supervision of legal officials and doctors. Many falsely assume that the more dosage intake will increase their result, but they just end up increasing their side effects. Our best solution is to control the amount of anabolic steroids athletes can intake due to the high number of rogue steroid laboratories present due to the ban of using steroids. Thank you.